You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mikey Hu. Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from The Moose on the Loose. How's it going on this Business Friday? We've been super lucky here in Quebec. Nice weather, not too warm, like cold nights, as I like them. So for my morning run is just perfect. So anyways, I hope that you are enjoying a piece of summer too on your part of the planet. Today we are talking about the ignorance tax. So what's the ignorance tax? That is the price you pay for not knowing something, right? Literally. And that is applicable in all aspect of your life. So as an investor, as a worker in your career, in your personal life, or also in a business. And that ignorance tax is basically, you're going to pay it in two different types of events. The first one is the opportunity cost. Not knowing what you could do results into a big opportunity cost, right? So as I explained a few weeks ago during this small series of like 3 weeks where I was talking about my personal finance decisions and like the good moves and the bad moves. And one of them was actually not necessarily a bad move. It was just that I moved away from Montreal and I bought a house in a suburb. But if I had known that buying a condo in a nice area in Montreal, and back then I could have done that. It would not have been like an amazing condo, but I mean, an apartment is an apartment, right? And if it has value because of its location, well, there you go. You just made a good investment. And I did not know that. And I was young and I was okay. So I just focused on the comfort of buying my first house, and it was like a bigger house than a condo, obviously with a land and so on. So I was like, wow, I'm realizing a dream. But if I had known that my cost would be to potentially have an asset that today would be worth like maybe 700, 800, maybe $1 million, I don't know. So that is a huge cost of not knowing. The other way as well is the direct cost of making a mistake. So when I started my business, one of the mistake I've done was to focus on making money right away. So I ignored back then that investing for the future, doing long-term project would be a lot more valuable. So in 2017, I should have started investing massively on the platform at that time. But I didn't know that. And eventually I realized that it was a lot better to do this. But even then, whenever you're making like a first time decision, you are going to pay an ignoring tax. Like on one side, it may be an opportunity cost. On the other side, it could be a cost of making a lot of mistakes. So when I started investing in the platform, I was fortunate because I just found the right persons, the right team, up like right away. So I didn't have to pay an ignorance tax on that. The only one, it was the opportunity cost because I should have done that a way earlier. But at least it didn't cost me anything to learn from that. And that is the most important part here, is not to be afraid to do things for the first time. Of course, when you do things for the first time, sometimes you spend a lot of money for nothing. I've tried multiple projects that didn't work throughout the years, and most of them, I don't see them as a failure, as a sense that, yeah, it didn't work out. It was like a lot of money down the hole. However, if I take the time to learn from it, to learn that ignoring tax, to pay that tax, but know what I paid, right? Then moving forward, it's going to be a lot easier. So instead of like thinking forever to try to avoid to pay the tax, it's actually a shortcut in life. If you're willing to pay the price of your ignorance and making mistakes when you do some things for the first time, well, it's a lot better going forward. So for example, when I set my office in 2017, I spent a fair amount of money on my computer, on my desk, to set everything up, and then I thought it was great. And I realized that most of what I bought in my setup was not optimal, like way suboptimal than what I thought. So I ended up over the years, I ended up buying at least 4, maybe 5 different types of monitors. Same thing with the desk. I'm at my third desk right now. One that is actually moving up and down so that I can work when I'm standing at the same time, which happened to be an amazing idea, but I had to discover that through 2 different other desks before I got to that third one and finally realized that this is what I wanted. But here's the thing. I like to learn while I am doing something. So instead of thinking about it, researching about it, about the best office setup and how to do it, that would have sum up for many, many hours of my time, and probably that I would be making mistakes anyway. So instead, I just rushed into it, made the first setup. It was okay, but the lighting was not that great. I did not have a proper mic. The monitor was too small for what I wanted. My computer tower was not strong enough to run what I wanted to run. And I had still cords on my mouse and on my keyboard, so that was restraining my movements and all of those things. I didn't talk about that. And even for the lighting as well, I had to buy multiple lights at different times to make it right. But that was okay. I was paying the ignorance tax. I don't know why I'm having so much problem to say that word. But here's when you pay for something, you tend to learn faster and quicker, right? And same thing when investing. Instead of wondering, should you invest in this stock or that stock, or should you wait, or should you go gradually? Why don't you just set an amount that you are willing to invest, that it's not the end of the world, that if you lose some of it, and then you start investing right away. And then you will learn a lot from your good moves and from your mistakes. And by paying the tax, you are going to go back on what you did, how it happened, and what's the outcome, and what could have been done differently. So it's a lot faster this way than trying to research and to get stuck by paralysis by analysis. With my business, I never stop. I always move forward as fast as I can. And I'm trying not to make mistakes. But whenever I make one, whenever I have a failure, well, then I try to revisit what went wrong and then see how I can make it better. So I don't mind paying that tax because it allows me to move a lot faster this way. So, there's a cost. It's just like a trading opportunity. So instead of trading time and energy, I rather trade money and pay that tax as soon as possible. So next time you want to try something new, instead of being paralyzed by the fear of failing or not wanting to pay the ignorance tax, I suggest that you go as fast as you could, jump on the ship, and start working on that new project. And then you will learn. On the good side of things, maybe you're going to be lucky and you will not have to pay a huge ignorance tax. And then sometimes when the bill comes up and it's a little bit higher than expected, well, then it is also a great chance to revisit what you've done and improve your process, improve the way you do things. And then you're going to become a better employee, a better investor, or like me, a better entrepreneur. All right, Moose, have yourself a great weekend. I'm back on the soccer field again this weekend, so I just can't wait to do that. I just love to coach kids. They're playing around, they're evolving. It's just amazing. So enjoy your weekend. We're going to talk again on Monday. And until then, don't forget to stay invested. Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy the show and do your due diligence after it.